Hi everybody, it's Miss Jessica from the Tech at Lowell Library and welcome to another Tech STEM Minute. Today we're going to be doing an experiment to try to create a cloud inside of a jar. What you need is some aerosol spray. I just have some regular air freshener spray. You could use hairspray or any other type of aerosol spray you might have at home. A jar, some ice, a plate or a bowl that you can lay flat over the top of your jar, and some hot water. This hot water does need to be a little bit hotter than what will come out of your tap when you have it set to have hot water come out. So you're going to want to ask for a parent's help for this part. The water needs to be not so hot that it's boiling, but hotter than it is when it comes out of your tap. So find that little in-between space and your parent can help you get that hot water. And speaking of hot water, I'm going to go ahead and grab my hot water right now and come back and we can start on the experiment. Okay, I have my hot water, and as you can see, I only put about an inch or two of hot water in the bottom of my jar. That's all you'll need for this experiment. Now I'm going to take my plate and I'm going to go ahead and put it on top of the jar and lay it flat just like this. And then I'm going to take my ice and use just enough ice to cover the plate. And I'm going to go ahead and put this ice on top of the plate, just like that. And as you can see, like I said, just enough to cover the top of the plate. At this point in the experiment, all we see is these fogged up sides of the glass jar. So we need to add our final element and see what happens. To add the aerosol spray, go ahead and grab your spray very carefully because the ice is slippery and will slip and slide off your plate or out of your bowl if you're not careful. Very carefully, go ahead and lift up this plate. Spray a quick spray in there, and as quick as you can without ice flinging everywhere, spray a spray in there and get the plate black on top. So take a look at what it's doing now. It's kind of hard to tell, but I do see some motion happening and some wispy cloud looking things. Let's spray one more spray just to see what we can see. Oh yeah, you can see it a little bit more now. I hope you guys can see it on the camera. Now, go ahead and lift your plate off. And you can really see that cloud coming out now. And put your hand over top when it comes out. See what you can feel as that cloud escapes from the jar. So why did the cloud form in our jar? To understand this, you need to understand a little bit about the water cycle. The water cycle is a cycle that all water on Earth goes through, and it has three main stages: evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. Evaporation is the stage where water on the surface of the Earth is heated up and it gets to a temperature where it begins to turn from the liquid water on the surface into a gas we call water vapor. That gas then rises towards the upper layers of the atmosphere, and this is where the condensation portion of the water cycle begins, because as it reaches that cooler part of the upper atmosphere, that water vapor begins to cool down and turn back into liquid water. The third part of the water cycle, precipitation, is when that water that has turned back into liquid up in the upper layers of the atmosphere falls back down to the surface as rain, ice, or snow. And precipitation is the part of the water cycle that we are most commonly affected by. The part of the water cycle that we replicated during this experiment was condensation. We had the hot water on the bottom of the jar, which was evaporating into water vapor, and we had the plate with ice on top, which was cooling that air in the upper part of the jar, just like the cooler upper layers of the atmosphere. But not much happened when we had just those two elements, right? We had to add that one final element of the aerosol spray to really get our cloud going. The aerosol spray added microscopic particles into the air inside the jar, which allowed those condensating water particles to gather together and form the cloud. If you remember when we took the plate off and you held your hand over it as the cloud was escaping to see what it felt like, you probably felt some water and some moisture on the bottom of your hand. This is that liquid water that was condensating and forming into the cloud. And real clouds form in the exact same way as this. A lot of the times in the air there are dust particles or smoke or even air pollution, which the water that has condensated up in the upper atmosphere uses to gather together and create the clouds that we see in the sky. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about clouds with me today. If you would like to learn more, be sure to check out the links I've left in the description below. Thanks for joining me today, guys, and I'll see you next time.